Southern Indiana.
Hold on.
You did. Okay, sorry for the delay.
Thanks, sir.
Over here.
That's it.
All right, good evening. Thanks for having us back up for our regular quarterly update here at the end of the year. I will follow up with probably an electronic version. As we go through this, there are a couple slides that have a video and some different things. So we'll follow up with a couple of things if you notice that. So again, just as a reminder, our function here is really to focus on business attraction, retention, and expansion. But I always like to say it takes a lot of different kind of strategies and efforts to get to that primary function. But on the second slide, still on page 1, I wanted to offer a few kind of updates and insights as we look back over our fiscal year 25, and we'll add a few updates from kind of recent months as well. But we typically operate on a fiscal year for many of our partners. So since January, we've had 21 project submissions that included properties within Scott County, including 27 industry visits. I'm always careful to clarify those aren't chamber visits. The Chamber of Commerce does different types of outreach. This is performed specifically by our 5-person economic development team. Excited that we're getting very close to finalizing some of the details for a ribbon cutting with Conco in partnership with the Department of Defense on February 5th. We are supporting the effort with recommendations of kind of guest list, but it will be quite the ordeal. So excited to release some more details to that once authorized. Continue to work with Genpact on some workforce dynamics, including partnering with Southern Indiana Works, American Plastic Molding, Oregon Foods, are a couple of the companies that we've had some recent engagement with. We will also continue, it's about 2-3 months ago, we partnered with IEDC, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. We'll partner with them from time to time to do some of the company visits. And so we kind of co-develop some target lists. And so we're starting the planning process to do another collaborative outreach in Scott County in Q1. In addition to that, we've been partnering with Chris Wakeman, assessing the Mid-America Science Park's equipment. I'm sure you might be aware there is some training equipment in the facility. And so convened a meeting and got some initial data from ID Tech in terms of what the inventory of that equipment is there. Also working with Amatrol to understand what they also sold to the city in terms of equipment there, and now going through a process to assess the relevance of that equipment and the operability of that equipment. Not sure where it will lead, but I always say the first thing to a strategy is understanding what you got and what you can do with it. So excited to work with Chris in the city on that. You'll also see in your packet a new magazine. I did come through about a month or so and dropped several off at a few locations in town, but that is a partnership with Livability Media. It is a national talent attraction and recruitment data sourcing firm. We started this partnership 2 years ago. The initial publication included Clark and Floyd. Again, we were just starting our relationship, but we had success in that first year. So you may recall I had some inquiries to make sure that it would be okay, including partnering with Kelly Delaney at the Chamber. I didn't want to step on any toes, but got all those approvals, and so glad to release the new updated version, which includes several features of Scott County, both in terms of some of the demographic information, but also some of the agribusiness that is thriving here in the community. So there's a virtual version that's very easily emailable, but we've also got about 1,500 of those in our office with another 1,500 on the way in a few months. So if you or your business or anybody listening would like some of those, I'm happy to provide those as a free resource. Moving on, I would note that we will, again, if you want to just kind of, we don't have the official date, but sometime in the first or second week of April, we will again host our annual exclusive elected official event. It is strictly for elected officials so that we can kind of share some best practices in economic development that we're seeing nationally, but also answer any questions related to kind of our work and the process. But that would be a joint elected official event with Clark Floyd and Scott County elected officials. So be on the lookout for the same date. We would love to have all of you attend, but at minimum, hopefully a representative from the body. I'm going to come back to the Governor Braun and the IDC regional strategy update. Not sure, again, kind of how closely you're monitoring some of Governor Braun's economic development strategies, but really relates to taking a more regional collaborative approach within your defined region. So I've got an update there that I'll provide in a minute. But before I do, I'm going to invite Jack Harrison, my colleague, to talk a little bit about the metro manufacturing lines.
Thank you all. Our Metro Manufacturing Alliance, if you weren't as familiar, is one of our key business retention and expansion strategies. So as we're talking with different businesses throughout the region, whether it is talking about removing barriers, to accelerate growth, that's just one of the tools in our toolkit to ensure that these folks have a relationship with us. At the end of the day, it's actually, while it operates sort of as a chamber membership, it really is housed through our economic development team because of the nature of what I just described. So just a couple of updates over the past few months with that I'd like to share with you all. We actually have an advisory council that sits over that body of membership. It's a great sounding board staffed by manufacturers around the area, so that as we're thinking of these strategies of how to engage, how to plan events, et cetera, they give us that great advice. And so with that, one of our newest members that'll be joining next month is Judy Splanler at Morgan Foods. And so happy to have Scott County as part of that table and over the body itself. Along with that, one of our major events over the past few months, every year we have our Manufacturing Week event where about 600 to 800 plus high school students from around the region will meet with about 19 or 20 different local manufacturers, just simply to learn more about those different career pathways. If there are those direct job opportunities, great, some of those do happen. But it's really ensuring that those kids, juniors and seniors primarily, whether it is learning of those direct opportunities or even just being reminded of what they have in their own backyard, really a great event every year. And so with that, Austin High School joined us as one of the different schools. And both Conco and Morgan Foods did have their company booths set up to engage with the students and were received very well. So we look forward to doing that again next year. I'm sure we'll have more updates with DMA to come.
All right, if you go to the next page, we're just on page 2. I'm going to go quick, I promise. So page 2, I'm not going to go through all this, but I wanted to give you a snapshot of FY25 throughout the Clark Floyd and Scott County region. I did highlight Scott County's projects with Jim Pack and Conco, which you're well aware of, but I did want you to kind of see that in perspective to the regional announcements. That second slide, the first slide is the retention expansion. The next slide would be the attraction. So if you're looking at the bottom of page 2, you'll see it tallied there at the bottom. So the total attraction retention project announcements in Clark and Floyd, Scott County were 852 with just over 56 million. We added annual payroll and just under 700 million of capital investment. And you can see Scott County's portion of that included 220 jobs. 12.5 million in added annual payroll, that's an annual benefit, and then just under 80 million in capital investment. On the next slide, I sometimes like to look back and see the trend line. So still kind of looking at the momentum that we have. And so over the past 36 months, 33 projects announced, just under 4,500 new jobs, and right at 2.7 billion in capital investment. More proud though, right under that you see the top Ohio River corridor communities. And so for the third year in a row, our Louisville, Kentucky, Southern Indiana bi-state region is the top investment along the Ohio River corridor. The next slide there, you guys heard me last time talk a little bit about the corridor, the rivers, rails, roads, and runways. So again, still kind of leaning into that brand as a brand that multiple counties can coordinate under. So if you go to the next page, you'll see a snapshot of our website. We'll ask on your own time if you want to Google fordoor.com. You will now see our new live website that has video content and some other items. This is a snapshot of the new regional brochure that is in kind of final stages. We'll have that printed here probably in January, but we'll be sure to give you guys all a copy as well, all under that Four-Door brand. The next slide that's blank is that video. So again, if you go to the website, we're happy to follow up with the link. You'll be able to see that there. Really to close us out, I want to give an update from the state of Indiana and kind of what Governor Braun's prioritization around the regional strategy. We hosted the Secretary in May 8th this year for a listening session where he very clearly communicated language around a single point of entry. There are 92 counties throughout the state, and the efficiency of being able to work more with regional entities versus direct county to county provides them a level of opportunity to really develop more of a regional framework and strategy in terms of what we want and how we're going to get it. And so we met after that meeting with several stakeholders at One Southern Indiana, obviously our president, our board chair, as well as Data Hero with the RDA, and Wendy Chester was a part of these conversations, just to say, hey, we just heard what the secretary said and what the new initiative for the governor is. How do we best align and maintain our momentum and be a strategic partner? You'll see in the next slide on the top of page 6, Governor Braun, since that meeting, has affirmed the READY region. So that would be our Southern Indiana READY region, which is a 5-county footprint for our region. This was affirmed to the Indiana Research Commission, and the governor will now begin moving towards creating a framework and instructions to regional partners on how to best work with the state under this new regional framework. Again, as we've been meeting, we've been developing an enhanced structure for our economic development body of work to better position us to collaborate with Jefferson and Washington, the 2 counties that are not currently in our 3-county partnership. So we've been very transparent and having a meeting with those commissioners and mayors to discuss this process. I was invited 2 weeks ago to serve on a 15-person work group on behalf of the Department of Commerce and IDC to give input into what will soon be released, a toolkit for regions to organize and structure themselves in a way, again, to work with the state. So honored to serve on that committee. One of the reasons that we were selected is because we already embody some of the best practices that they are looking to do. They want a private sector driven economic development strategy. When you look at One Southern Indiana's economic development, we are 90% funded by private investment. We have an economic development council where we get input from private stakeholders, and then obviously work in partnership with our local elected officials. So we're glad that we've been doing regionalism since before it was cool. But just want to give you a courtesy heads up of some of the structural dynamics that are in progress. I will continue to kind of report on this item, but at the end of the day, excited to have you as a continued partner in this work, and excited that we're a little ahead of the curve when I look at some of the other regions around the state. It will not be as easy for some to be able to work alongside. When we look at Jefferson and Washington, we've already got a number of ways that we're already collaborating, so I position this more as an enhanced relationship, much like we have with Scott County, right? Working with Chris, working with you guys, the same as we do in Clark and Floyd. Those folks have their own redevelopment directors, but it allows us to focus, as I hope you can see, some of the more specifically focused business attraction and retention work. So I'll take a breath, but happy to answer any questions.
I got something, John.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned representation and how, and I know this is very early on. They're just trying to get an idea how this would look, but the names that you mentioned, I know they're very solid and a representation standpoint for our region, but they are also down south, right? I mean, so I guess moving forward, how would that look from our standpoint up here?
Yeah, so the reason we pulled this, call it 5-person kind of quick group together is because the RDA over the past 6 months has been getting more communications with the IDC. We look very differently than around the state. Some of the RDAs are the economic development organizations. And so the communication from the state has not been consistent with who they're communicating with. And so because some of the economic development some of the communication started going to the RDA, and even this joint listening session was hosted in partnership with economic development and the RDA. We wanted to kind of maintain, stay in sync with them as we had some of these initial conversations. But yes, the enhanced, what essentially we're going to propose is, in addition to our Economic Development Council, creating an executive council that would give a seat for all of our municipalities and county partners that are part of our partnership, a much smaller table, so that we can identify consensus topics, to be frank, and get a little more aggressive in terms of proactive economic development. I'd say we're really good at responding to stuff and going out and generating leads. But what are we doing, kind of looking out 3, 5, 10 years? What are those infrastructure needs that we have, and how are we coming together to prioritize those with a 5-county region? And that's much of, I think, Rom's vision is how do we kind of identify what those strategies are as a region?
Yeah, I get that a little bit. I think everybody's trying to figure out where they fit, right? Even River Hills is trying to figure out how they fit in the puzzle as well.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, then we had a call with Lisa today. We stated, again, I think this process, because of the nature of it, we've erred on the side of transparency and just trying to kind of stay in sync with everybody. But feel really good about where we are and what River Hills kind of role is and what our role is, and that we'll all continue to partner together.
thanks.
So I have a question. Down south, we've got a lot of economic growth. Do you foresee some of that growth starting to come this way anytime soon?
Yes, I think it's going to be at a different pace. I think some of your positives are related to some of the moratoriums, honestly, that River Ridge has put on River Ridge in terms of who they'll sell land to, related to wages. I think some of the housing is starting to kind of matriculate here, but we are getting follow-ups on sites that we are submitting, but we only had maybe 2 site visits, bringing clients in on the ground. Sometimes that's a soft indicator of, right, how viable or how competitive is this site going to be. And we had a little bit of this conversation. It's a timeline game, so it's how prepared can you get a site so that you can reduce that timeline of developability, all the way to the aggressive nature of speculative, right, development and buildings. And so when you have folks in the market that have buildings that are already up, kind of sitting empty, sometimes that timeline competition can get, but I do think that as land fills and you will continue to have, I think, increased interest. But some of these are up to a community or county to really understand what their portfolio, what their tolerance is for kind of investing and leaning into properties to get them more mature and ready for an end user.
That was going to be my question. Yeah. But no, one thing, I've had a lot of people call and say, why didn't we get Buc-ee's around here? Since the talk around Greenwood and whatnot. But no, I was going to be a joke towards you. Why didn't y'all fight for us there? But no, that's how it's going to end up since Randy took the question.
Yeah,
That's actually a little bit over your head.
Yeah, well, not to pitch it somewhere else, but again, our focus is not, and not that there's anything wrong with it.
No,
Our focus is not gas stations and restaurants and coffee shops. It is, manufacturing facilities and others, and not that we can't support and offer, technical resources, but those are not necessarily the projects that we are marketing to and going after.
I will tell you that a few years back, Buc-ee's actually did do a study for Uniontown. That was about the closest. But but there's a lot of factors why they didn't settle there as well. And to your point, you're right. It is a process, I think, when we talk about economic development. You see pieces that are starting to happen now here, and growth is coming this way because of River Ridge and some of these other factors down south. I think at some point we'll start seeing the advantages of the infrastructure that's going to be taking place here along I-65 and some other improvements that the state and federal highways making. So I think it is a process, and it's just a few years away. It's very close.
I agree, and I would also just note, you have one of the largest contiguous parcels of land in the region, right? Which is why you're being submitted on things. So that size of parcel is an attractive piece. You know, I think that's a piece of the conversation is, you know, how do we accelerate kind of that timeline? Well, I think, you know, just a final thank you. I hope that we'll begin conversations in the coming months, you know, in terms of hopefully, you know, renewing our relationship here, and open to kind of individual conversations with anybody as we lead up to that process. But honored to continue to serve you. So thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for representing us. Next item up on the list, Kevin Hall, Highway Department.
I just got a couple quick things to address. The first will be, I kind of talked to you about the 2011 3500. I just got the invoice there a little bit ago. That's what I got here today. If we can get this kind of officially approved tonight, I'm just going to talk to Jennifer and them about trying to get it in our 2025 budget. We're buying it out of our auction fund, which is funded for as it's already been appropriated. So we're good as far as that goes. We just kind of get the rest of it done.
So Kevin, the money in the auction fund, was it appropriated in the budget already?
Yes, it's appropriated.
Okay, so the money will be available beginning January 1st for the purchase.
No, it's actually available right now in 2025. So we appropriated $63,000 for equipment repair out of the fund for those things, building supplies, equipment repair. This is one piece of equipment we found. So it's appropriated for 2025.
Okay, so you can go
In
ahead.
2026, we would have to go reappropriate it again. So that's why I'm trying to get it done in 2025.
Gotcha. Okay, understood. So if we waited, then we would need to go through that additional process of
Right, yeah.
advertising and appropriation. But if we approve it tonight, the money has been appropriated, no advertisement necessary for appropriation, and you all can proceed with the purchase.
Yes.
All right.
I'll accept the motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous.
The next thing I have on there is cell phone stipends. So I have a mechanic position, and also in my 2026 budget that I talked to the council about, we're going to be funded to do the operators / mechanic position. I asked for mechanics pay in that position in 2026, so it'll just be a reclassification of an operator into the operator mechanic position. Comes with a little bit of money, more responsibility. They'll help the mechanic out if we get into a lot of different projects. They'll also do their day-to-day, to report to the crew like they always have, do the day-to-day operations. But, you know, that way we always got some money, especially going into chip seal operations now. We always got somebody that can jump in a service truck that we're trying to get set up. You know, one guy's off or sick or whatever. We got kind of another guy to help out with that too. We don't have the budget for a whole nother guy. It's just kind of, we all kind of got to be multiple trades there. So it just kind of gets us a incentive for a guy to step up and take the role. I've sent that to Jennifer to send to the HR department and see what I guess I need to do on that as far as the position goes. I think that's just a stipend, saying to Jennifer for tonight.
That's just something, yes.
I'm asking for stipends for both of those positions. And the reason why is they're gonna have county emails on their phones. So they take quotes, they take phone calls, because they're out and about and moving around. On days there, on days off, so. Just think it's probably a fair thing.
All right, do we have a motion to accept the cell phone stipend?
I'll make a motion.
And it's,
I'll say,
it's resolution 2025
16.
R16, and it repeals and replaces 2023 R21. Which was that's the previous, you all have 3 cell phone stipends already, right?
We have,
Or 4, I apologize.
so that would take it to 6, right?
6.
Great, yeah, that's what it is.
All right, I'll make that unanimous.
I think that's all I got. Unless you guys have anything?
We expecting more bad weather this week?
Oh, I don't know. I think the roads, getting this warm weather here today, hopefully with the salt and cinders that are out there, I'm hoping it takes care of itself. We are hauling cinders in for all today. We're gonna haul for at least a half a day tomorrow. Hopefully maybe a day next week. So we got probably 1,000 tons in the back and 500 or 600 tons in the building. So, last event we ran about at least 1,000 tons of salt cinder mixed out and about 5,000 gallons of primer. So, you know, it's a lot of material, but we're getting to stock back up.
all the roads got a lot of material on it. You know, even the other day I was going, southbound on 65, the road was just white with salt.
Yeah, I know, we're gonna take a break now for speaking of that. Use it as an option.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item up on the agenda is Nick, the DMS.
Sorry for waiting kind of late in the year, but I wanted to see where our budget was gonna fall before I tried to make this commitment. We did budget for replacement in 2014 that we got. I wanted to kind of see where our cash ledger was gonna fall. I'm comfortable with where our cash ledger is for the end of the year. I've got 44,640 left in that line. So I'm here to, I reached out to vendors who had some vehicles available. I would propose that we go used, just to save some money there, but I've got quotes for new vehicles that will fall under what I have appropriated for, so. I've got quotes anywhere from 29,000 to 42,000. The used one that I was looking at is 137, that's at John Jones. They have the new ones at the Pursuit, but we don't need all the stuff that the Pursuit ones come with, for what we're gonna use it for, nor does those Pursuit ones have a center console, so that's something we'd have to buy. So I'm just trying to be as strategic as possible with this. As far as the vehicle that we've got, I'm fine repurposing it back into the county. If I know there's a couple of departments that have reached out to me asking if we've had anything extra. It's something we bought back in 15 and I'm fine. We do approve this, giving it to whether it's corner, highway, or share. I'm indifferent where it goes, but I don't think we're gonna get a whole lot on trade for a 11-year-old vehicle. So.
I believe I'd like to see the corner office have one, because they definitely need. I mean, the only thing we got is the older ambulance.
You know, we give them that ambulance at the beginning of the year, to transport them.
Yeah.
But, like I said, it is appropriated in our 42001, I think, or 6, but there's 44,640 left in there, and all these quotes are under that.
For 20?
For this year, yes, sir. 21,
For this
like
year.
it's, was appropriated.
I like the idea of repurposing the other vehicle. That come in very handy for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get a whole lot, really.
I didn't ask full transparency, I just figured it would be better to repurpose.
It, we get better service out of it, keeping it than we will selling it off.
Any questions? I guess if I can go through each one that we've got, I don't know if I have to, as far as quote wise, I've got quotes for 3 used, and 2 new.
All of the quotes were less than $50,000.
Yes, sir. The highest one was 41,687.50.
And is the quote that you want to go with the lowest?
It's middle of the road due to mileage that it's used.
Okay. I would suggest probably just letting them review the different quotes and
I'll put the one that I was looking at on top, and then everything else is behind it. The 2 lower ones have middle of the road miles. I think it's 60,000 on both of those, which I don't know that I want to commit that heavy, but here they are.
Do you know which one these had, or the mileage is on?
The
Probably easier than here. On these, it's gonna be on the second page right here. So this one's got 16,000. This is the one that I was looking at. This one has got, I think, 200. It's like a demo. These 2 are new, and these are the Pursuit ones. And then these ones here are like the 60 and 68,000, I believe. There it is. 68,000 on this one, and 60,000 on that one.
The reason that I'm okay doing new is because this would be to replace the vehicle that our NIH program uses. So they're not doing an extreme amount of responding so much as they are just doing normal traveling to 20 homes a day. So they put more miles on it, but they're easy miles, if that makes sense.
Have you had a chance to look at it, actually? Okay.
Yeah, that one's local, the other ones are in Corden, and so that one was here, so I haven't looked at that.
I don't necessarily need to.
So Nick, specifically, you were looking at the one with the.
It was just
lowest
middle of the
miles.
road. It had 16,000 miles and it wasn't $42,000.
I like the one with the low miles. I think it's a good buy for the amount of miles. It's fairly new. So,
That would leave money in order to outfit, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the total amount for that purchase?
36, 137.50.
It would be at your all's discretion, whichever of those you want to do. They're all under 50,000, and Nick has received quotes for, it's hard to probably do apples to apples on vehicles every single time, especially when you're talking about used vehicles, but,
And I guess my only concern is where it's used, and it's not like there's a plethora of the same thing on their lot. If we do approve this, I don't know if we can approve a backup to where if that's, because they aren't gonna hold it without some sort of deposit.
yeah, you can't shop a used car.
Right, so I didn't know if we could approve one, if that's not available, approve a contingency under it, or if I can be approved up to a dollar amount or whatever would fit within that realm. I just don't want to have to come back and be like, hey, you know, what's going on? Can we go with this one type deal?
The 36, 137.50, that's all in, right?
Yes, sir.
Tax fees, all that.
Yeah, we don't have tax on our stuff, but that's
We're
their
exempt.
$250 dock fee and $37.50.
That's out the door.
Yes.
so the contingency, the second pick, what's that amount?
Whatever. If I got to choose, probably 37,400.
I mean, I believe that you could approve him to accept the 36 with the idea that he would be approved to purchase the other $37,000 amount if that was impossible.
The one for 3,700, how many miles was on it?
37,400. I believe it was a couple hundred. It was a demo.
Couple hundred miles?
Yes, sir.
What year is it?
23. It's just an odd color. That's the reason. Trying to keep like neutral colors are black and white and whatever, but that's all.
What color is it?
Blue.
It was
Like
right
a-
below the picture, yeah.
It was like a
Metallic looking.
like a gray blue, like gray and blue had a baby. I mean, I'm just trying to keep neutral colors. I'm indifferent.
How much is what was the new 42,000 and what color?
41, 867, 50. But the problem, I don't say the problem, there's more upfit costs because those are meant to have the consoles and stuff put in that have all the, stock car radio and all that stuff. This vehicle doesn't have as much that, the normal ones have. So I'd like to find something that has like a civilian console in it because there's going to be so much dead space on a police console, and then those are like $1,000. So I mean, it's just like the upfit cost is going to be more because it doesn't come, like they're meant to be built. The ones from Pursuit are meant to be
Police
You know.
vehicles.
outfitted with stuff. That was just kind of my only hindrance of going with those. And then pricing new civilian ones was way more than those because you start getting into models and Citadels and all that all kind of, it was just, I'm spending 60 grand on them.
What do you guys think?
Again, I'm indifferent. I was just,
As of this afternoon, when you checked, the 36, 137.50 was there, right?
I got a text this morning because the guy was off yesterday and said it had arrived here. Yes. So it seems to be available, I would assume.
Yeah.
I will say the one that is here, the 36, 137 is a V8. The one over there is a V6. I don't know if that matters to you. Just giving you as much information as I can. I would assume that it's still available.
Yeah.
Which one's the B6?
The blue one,
For 37.
37,400. And that one's from Gilstrip. Do you want to see them two side by side again?
Please.
Good.
Randy, I'll make a motion that Nick is, his pick was, actually the vehicle, his first pick was, the vehicle was 16,000 miles, out there at John Jones for a total of $36,137.50. I make a motion, for him to move forward with that and up to, in case something goes wrong or it gets sold out from underneath of you, to move forward with these other option there, $37,400 with the other vehicle at the other dealer.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'll make it unanimous.
So,
I don't like the idea of the B6. That's my problem here.
But your first choice is not the B6, right?
correct.
Yeah, okay. So hopefully we just,
Hopefully it's not false.
And then I guess I'll make a phone call when I leave here. My second, I guess, request, since it is approved, is there a way, since I'm funded for it, is there a way to expedite a check to them? Like as far as the claim process, like can I turn in the claim and her cut a check? I know you guys have to like review and like do claims, but I didn't know if it's something, since it's approved here tonight, that I could turn it in.
do we have an expedited claims process?
We have one for EMS, yeah.
It just, I know that we have a standing list and this like purchases usually like this usually aren't one. I didn't know if I could turn one in and get one from Mandy tomorrow or Friday or something. Cause I'm sure somebody's gonna want it.
We're coming to the end of the year and you want to get this purchase done
Yeah.
and lock that vehicle in. So if you wanted to add that to the expedited claims, I don't think there'd be any prohibition against it.
And 44,909 is what I have available on that line. Thank you.
I think that should be, they may send you an email, just making sure, that you approve the claim, but I think that would be all we're saying. They'll have check.
Okay, that was just my other request.
Yeah. We're good. Of course, we've done a lot of business out there anyway, so
Usually, I know we usually buy through Pursuit, which they're used to dealing with like the government delayed payment process. This one's from not there, so I know. I brought that up to them, like if we went forward, how that'd be, and they're like, yeah. So I just know that'd be a conversation. Okay, any questions for me?
I know, but I just would like to say, thanks for thinking of that other vehicle, keeping it, as a kind of a repurposing type vehicle for another department. I appreciate that, because that'd be valuable for some others. So we'll work together and figure out who needs it and where we can move it to. So thanks.
I believe a lot of the coroner's offices are using those Durangos, aren't they, to move bodies?
I know they were at Washington County. I'm not familiar with a lot of other areas. I know they were west of here.
How reliable is that other ambulance?
The 16, it's got a fairly new power plant. The rest of it is on compliance as far as like for our stuff, but there's not necessarily a compliance thing for their end. As far as like to and fro, Like as far as power plant wise, it's decent, but I mean, that chassis is a 14, the box is a 7 or an 8, so I mean, there's a lot of like not working how it used to parts on that truck. I mean, it is what it is. It's going on a 20-year-old box.
So let me ask you, if we was to repurpose the Durango back to the coroner's office, would there be a need at all for the coroner to use that old ambulance or at all?
I don't want to answer the question for him. I think your biggest constraint that I've dealt with in the past in like any type of SUV has been size constraint. You know, like once you put a stretcher in the back, your room from stretcher to the roof is only so tall. I think that might be your only constraint. And then obviously if they need, Tyvek suits and like other equipment like that, there's less place because all the seats, even from your second row back, have to fold down. So your ability to carry some of that extra stuff is gone. But I think on a normal day, it would be fine. But again, I don't want to answer questions for him.
All right, I mean, my thought was, continue to take things on when something has to leave. I mean, we can't.
No.
Insure more than what we need, but if it's needed, that's fine as well.
And I mean, if we're talking about, like, I would love to, try and sell that ambulance. I know that last year was on our list of things to do, but at the same time, I don't want to take 10 grand. Another department can't replace what that would be for 10 grand, so I didn't mind holding on to it. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot for that, just for the simple fact is it can only be repurposed for certain things.
Is the Durango a four-wheel drive?
It's all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
Kevin, did you say something?
I'm gonna put the highway department in for the old ambulance.
I'll gladly bring it to you.
I was waiting for that.
What's that?
I mean, I don't mind repurposing some of this stuff. It's taking up space, and like I said, I would say, and this isn't throwing any shade, I'd say we're doing probably 75 to 80% of the transports for the coroner's office anyway, just due to what they are. Because typically if we get called there, we're doing the transports anyway. The ones that we weren't, just the ones that we weren't getting called to. So it's not like it's a huge inconvenience for us to go back and help them out. It just might be a little bit of a waiting game. But at the same time, if he's got that, he can use it to at least to and fro go to, or if he can move the patient himself. I mean, it's completely up to him. I know that it's a bigger inconvenience probably operating that ambulance because like this type of weather, it has to be plugged in or that thing ain't starting. Like it's just not happening. So I mean, that's another thing you don't have to worry about is a little bit more. The ambulance is a little more high maintenance when it comes to just normal procurement and procedure on it.
Okay.
The reason I guess I was asking, like, if you knew where you would want it to go, is because he can use some of like the lights and stuff in it, like scene lights and stuff like that. So I would just leave that in there instead of stripping it out. And if you don't know how, it's fine. Just because it's not like I'm putting a new one in service tomorrow because it's gonna have to be stuff done to it. I just when we're stripping stuff out, like we're gonna take our radio and stuff out of there. Obviously, those things are $5 or $6 grand.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Coroner's office. We can get in my opinion, I think the coroner's office ought to get the Durango and then we'll move the ambulance to the highway department.
That's a good point.
John, do you use?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, the only thing I had was, are ambulance good from Bambi attack? Last time? Was there any structural?
I had to replace the headlight. Grill is cracked, but like not anything structurally damaged. We had to replace the headlight.
Okay, good.
That was it. Like no.
I was just
Yeah.
worried if we were down. Or
We were down one for 3 days when the headlight came in.
Okay.
But that was just, it just cracked the plastic on the outside and snow was getting in there, so I wasn't gonna make it worse than it was. But, it's in service now and being used right today.
That's the only thing.
Have you looked at the brush yards? Did we talk about that?
So those have the center ones on, they didn't have the wrap, they initially had the wraparound. And 2 years ago, we hit a deer, and that wraparound crushed the fender, and you actually came out there for that, and it did, I feel like it did, that wraparound did more damage than it did saving anything. So we have on the smaller vans, we have the center push guards, like we have on our SUVs. The big trucks will not fit in the bay with a brush guard because there's already only like 8 inches of clearance once they're up against the door. You put a brush guard on there, and we're spending tens of thousands of dollars to add a couple feet to our bay.
Good enough.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next time, health department, very good.
Thank you, man.
Okay, I'm here tonight because our preparedness coordinator, Susan Carr, got accepted into a training that is out of state. It's through FEMA, and it's for the Strategic National Stockpile, the SNS training. And it is in Alabama, the end of January. It's at the end of January. They're gonna pay for everything, for flights, hotel, the training, food, everything. I just need permission from you guys to allow her to travel to Alabama for that training at the end of January.
Should be a company vehicle or fly?
She's flying.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Does she really need to go?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous. I guess you'll give her an ask for her own flight.
She probably will anyway, because we're all doing photos.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really good training. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be, she's gonna learn a lot, so
Well, thank you.
thank you guys very much.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's all you had, right?
That's it.
All right, thank you, have a good evening. The next item on the agenda is, prosecutor's office, wants a contract with Axon, video.
So it's I think everybody got copies of the contract. You'll see, I think the first couple pages are the contract that was entered into, I believe, by IPAC and the Axon for the offering of these services to counties in Indiana at a discounted rate. And the only question I think for this contract is I don't believe that there is, it's to begin in 2026 is my understanding. That they would need to go back and ask for an additional appropriation, that they would be doing that. But in order to lock in the, I think the rate amount, they would need to execute the contract prior to January 26th. So I think essentially, I think we could approve the prosecutor executing the contract on the condition that council fulfills the appropriation amount. And so I think that he intends to contact the county council and make sure that he's on their appropriations request. my understanding is that there's not a concern about where the funds would come from. They would come from I believe, a non-reverting fund within his budget. But I think the amounts have not been specifically appropriated for anything, because there are ways that the prosecutor receives funds in certain scenarios that aren't necessarily through, our tax base, if that makes sense.
I talked to a council member earlier, and they specified that as well.
Yep.
And that he had the funds, just need to get on the books with them.
That's correct.
Randy, I make a motion to approve the contract for the prosecutor's office and send that to council for funding.
And just to be clear, he would be, I believe, moving forward with the execution of the contract prior to December 31st of this year. But I believe his intent is to get on the county council's agenda potentially for the 30th. I don't know if he will be able to get that for that date, but I think, like Adam said, he's gone ahead and informed individual council members about the request, and they understand where the money would be coming from.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for them to get into a 10-year fixed price with that equipment.
Yes.
I believe they're using unlimited storage space as well with that video equipment.
And it does a lot of other things. I mean, it allows them to, I think, share information a lot better with our county agencies, receive information, prepare certain things for court in a way that might not be as easy as the current system they have, and then also to share any information that's required through discovery rules or anything like that. So it's kind of a fluid system, I guess, and I think that's why IPAC, as the kind of the state group for the prosecutor's offices, wanted to make sure that this was available to the local entities.
All right, I have a motion, Greg,
I'll second.
and then I'll make that unanimous. Do we have anything to sign?
I think that the contractor or the prosecutor.
It would be, we would just be reviewing it pursuant to the code and allowing him to proceed.
Okay, thank you. Annex. Next item on the agenda is the moving company. I apologize. The transfer station is the next item on the agenda.
So I asked Jennifer to put this on the agenda for us to talk about tonight. I know Zach has been working with IDEM and fulfilling our requirements and keeping us compliant. One of the things that in some previous emails that the commissioners were included in was the need for us to supply IDEM with a SWAP, which that is Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. Most places have these in place, especially when we're talking about somewhere with a transfer station. That's part of kind of the overall operations plan with that. With that, that is specific to runoff and drainage concerns that are out there. And so there's a focused way on how that's handled. The main goal is to, for us at this point, after needing to be in compliance and produce that plan, we had to reach out for environmental engineering services. So once Zach said that we had that need, I reached out to actually a fellow commissioner that works for an engineering firm with Clark Dietz. Reached out to him and let him know our situation. They had reached back out to us with a few questions So my intent tonight is ask the board to look at moving forward for us to produce a scope that identifies pretty much the process to stay in compliance with IDEM and get Clark Deeds working on this as a service agreement. And so we can continue to stay in compliance and move forward to get us by for another year or two or whatever with that, Zach, until they come back and maybe ask for something more.
Adam, do you have anything?
With the scope of work, are we already paying them? Are we engaged with them already in an official capacity, contract wise, or the cost analysis, or like how much is running at?
We don't
We are
know
not.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not working with them at this point, or time, or we haven't been in client of theirs in the past, but we don't know the cost right now. What we need to do is get them working to develop the scope so we can find the cost of this, to see what all's involved. I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to include in where we're at.
I would just say, I think I said this at the last meeting, I met with IDEM, discussed kind of where we were at, talked about how we would be submitting our SOPs, which I did after our last meeting. And, they tried to stress to me the idea that really these stormwater pollution prevention plans are crafted by professionals who work in environmental management. So just kind of outside, one, the expertise that I would even be able to, and then two, they have stressed that it is a part of our agreed order. And I know that there was a question from the proposed contractor, let's call it, for lack of a better term, about whether or not it would be better to kind of fold this into an operations plan, like you mentioned. And I think that's fine to a certain degree, but I think we do need to have somebody come in and develop, whether it becomes a full part of the operations plan at some point. I think that's fine. We just have to have some specifics for stormwater pollution prevention. I think it's a requirement under the code, and it's a requirement specifically under our order. So I think my suggestion would be to try to get a professional, at least under contract, so to speak, to begin putting this plan together before the end of the year, so that, again, when IDEM comes back and has a question of where are we, right? Because I'd asked for a 30-day extension. You can say, we have somebody under contract and we are working on complying with the plan, but it's a little bit more involved than we initially understood. One, and I think part of that is, at the time, I think we all believed that there was a stormwater pollution prevention plan that was available out there. And we've been unable to locate that. I've tried multiple different ways, and I don't believe there is one. So.
I don't think there's ever, our procedure book was always handwritten by different people that was in the office. And, it comes to a time that you're supposed to hire professional people to do, to oversee things and make sure that things are done the proper way they are. Scott County has been in the trash business now for a while, and I believe that it's time to go ahead and take that next step and just say, yes, we are in the trash business. We might not like it, but we are, and we have to do what's right to keep up with the permit that we would have to have regardless, because we've always had a dump out there. And the whole thing with this is whether or not we have a transfer station or not, we still have trash out there that has to be taken care of. A permit has to be cared for. So, if, somebody wants to make a motion.
And I appreciate this, kind of the speed at which this particular contractor has, taken on this and kind of said, yeah, we're ready to go. I know that they had some questions today about, is it really necessary for, you might not need us, but I wanted to respond to that and explain to them that part of that order is we have to get this done and we do need them.
Yeah, so the goal here is just to give them the green light, start compliance and things, so they can come back with a number for us, ultimately to produce an overall report and plan, that we can have on file and, keep us in compliance. But once we give the green light to them, they'll come back with a number, we'll send that to council for ultimate, funding approval, and then be able to tell them to get moving on it.
Okay, thank you for explaining all that, I appreciate it. I'll make a motion to move forward with this entity, so that way we can get in compliance and, with IDEM and hopefully not get in trouble anymore and get up to date.
And this is the last piece remaining, just
Oh,
that
absolutely.
they're waiting.
I'll second, and thank goodness for that, right?
I'll make that unanimous. Who is the name of the individuals?
Clark Deeds. Clark Deeds Engineering.
Art Beats.
Clark Deeds Engineering. Some of the contacts there would be Drew Story and Shane Spears.
So they're two different.
I'm sorry, Shane Spicer.
That's the name of two different people.
That's the context.
Yeah, that's it.
That was your needs, I said, thank you.
I don't, I've never seen Mr. Deeds.
All right, next item up on the agenda tonight is gonna be a moving company. We need to reach out to a company to get some quotes on moving furniture back and forth from the courthouse over here to County Hall, maybe County Hall's just a temporary name, we're calling it, to save confusion. So I don't know if anybody who wants to take the lead on that, or
I can, yeah. Yeah, I can reach out to a few people. Andrew
Anytime
Campbell.
Fitness, YMCA. Anytime Fitness or YMCA, or looking to get the shape, move some furniture.
On the moving aspect, have we communicated with any of the department heads or gotten a plan yet as to where everyone's going to be housed, or if everyone's picked out a spot, or?
we haven't received anything back from any of the engineers or architects or anything yet officially. No drawings. Would be just, we're needing to get a plan together as far as the price of what we're looking at. And then once we get that, we're going to get the council with an all-intrusive price on everything.
We could see that maybe next week, but if not, just right after the first of the year. Through Temple and Temple, I know. And I know Bertie came in one day, I think I was actually gone to review that meeting that they presented, or they came into the council maybe the other night. So I know they're working on the numbers as well, so we should start compiling these numbers in the next couple of weeks. And so I think probably what you're asking for, right, is just try to compile, once we get that, an all-inclusive number for the council, okay?
Yeah, that's correct.
Can be close.
Next item on the agenda is board appointments for River Hills. Greg, did you have some insight to this one? Do you have anybody that,
Well, I think this is probably my appointment. I know I've served on that board for the last 3 years. I certainly would want to remain the appointment for that.
all right, do you have anything to say, or add?
I'll make a motion to keep Greg on there.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is Scottsburg Board of Zoning Appeals appointment.
We reached out to Jennifer to get this on the agenda. The city contacted us. Our appointment ends at the end of the year on the 31st. So they were looking to go ahead and get us working on our appointment, just from the standpoint, there's usually a lot going on that board. And we don't want to cause them a delay in any kind of voting and hold them up on anything, any progress. So our appointment over the last couple of years has been Brad Stotts. Brad does a good job on that board representing the county. And I'd make a motion to keep Brad Stotts in the Scottsburg BCA appointment position.
Do you have anything to say?
I'll second that.
All right, I'll make that unanimous. Okay, next item on the agenda is the holiday meal update. Jennifer,
Okay, you've not set a date of when you want those to start. We had talked about doing just a list to her that they just go there with their county, or not the county ID, but their ID, and that'll be it. I just want to know if anybody's talked to her, what days you want to do this, or however. I think maybe.
Yeah. So me and her followed up on Friday of last week, and then her and I talked again yesterday. So she is good. She had some second thoughts, maybe do like a traditional meal yesterday when we followed up, but then we talked about what Greg and all of us discussed after Randy when you were sick. How we got night shifters, we got people that alternate and whatnot. And then we talked a little bit more about it, and then she felt good about doing the voucher thing or sending over a list, and then they come over with their ID and then mark it off. And so the price that we had talked about, what she's done typically in the past couple of years has been anywhere from like $15 to $17 a meal. That's what she's estimated it was. And I know that we have approved, I think up to 5,000.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so with that range is what she told us. I think we just need to set a price for up to how many employees we truly have on the list. And that way employees can go over when they want, when they're on shift, when they're in town, instead of coming in on their day off, or if they're day sleepers, getting up and interrupting their sleep. So that's what we got. And so we can start that as soon as y'all tell me when.
I'm good with going. I'm sorry, I just did some quick math here real quick. I think we got 248 employees.
And that's what, yes.
So that's gonna be $4,216 total. If we go $17, I think it's safe to say that we're good to go. And I'd say not make it a certain day, but just allow people any time from here till the 25th. I'm sorry,
Until
23rd.
probably 24th, right? Would be up to the 24th.
Okay, so allow everybody to get a meal at their convenience between here and the 24th, and then you'll be supplying them with a employee list of people.
I think that's a good plan. You know, and, you know, departments, if they want to get together, or a couple of departments want to get together, and they want to, you know, meet over there and such, that gives them more flexibility and such, so I think that's a good plan.
And Summer's always been good to us, and she's got great food, and so I greatly appreciate her being flexible and working with us.
And I want to make it clear, you know, there's lots of places in town that we could do this and everything. And one of the reasons why we select Summer is because she's got a broad menu, and it goes, it kind of falls in line with some people has certain meal preferences. I mean, like me for one, I'm diabetic. I like pizza that it really blows my sugar up, for example. So that's why we kind of always go with some grain.
So you need a motion to approve up to $17 a meal, is that what we're?
No, we've already agreed to up to $5,000. So we just need to approve the holiday meal for everybody.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the holiday meal.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous. You gotta come over to the meeting now.
I'm sorry, say it again. I didn't hear what you
I
said.
said, you guys wanna get up and go get something now?
I don't think she's open tonight.
Okay, well, hold on, we'll table that. All right, 2026 meeting schedule.
I think you guys got that in your email, or should have, and then there's one copy there. The only thing, we may want to look at that December 1st meeting, because I've got the feeling your commissioners' convention will be that first week of December again. Maybe we should plan that a little better.
Maybe we should, yeah, let's revise December.
Would you care to pull it back to the front, or maybe making it that Monday night or something? That way we can allow our claims to get paid at the first of the month. This time it help people up a week on their payments.
Or maybe we could move the meeting to Thursday, but would that help? If we still kept it the same week, but moved it from Wednesday to a Thursday?
Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah, because we always get out there.
The reason I say Monday is not good because the last few years, heading up to Commissioner's Conference, I mean, the weather has been awful. 2 years ago, I sat on the interstate for a few hours through Brax. This year I left early and the weather was horrendous again, so.
So your motion is to move the December 2nd meeting to the 3rd? Or the following, what was your motion there?
My motion is to move the meeting to Thursday, December 3rd of 26.
Rick made a motion for December 3rd.
I'll second that, and everything else is good.
All right, and I'll make that unanimous.
Thanks for bringing that up, Jennifer.
Well, let's call it 2 years in a row, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it has, thank you. All right. And so everybody at home, basically, what we just agreed to is our meetings are going to be on the first and third Wednesday of every month, except for December. We will have one meeting on Thursday and the next one on the third Wednesday. All right, next item on the agenda is payroll approval for December 12th. Has anybody got any objections to that?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous.
If I could get you guys to look, there's 3 different sections to sign there. Kind of go back and look, because we missed some last month, or last week, I'm sorry, last week meeting.
I didn't.
I didn't know.
All right, next item on the agenda is consideration for year-end claims. Have y'all had a chance to look at it?
I just,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Just the invoices.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous. All right, next item on the agenda is consideration for the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look and approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
I'll make that unanimous. All right, that's the last thing on the agenda. I think we do have one further thing to discuss. Tonight is the last meeting. Well, I guess you will be coming to us one more meeting.
Yes.
Okay. So, Zach will be leaving us after one more meeting. No, I'm sorry, we didn't have no public comments tonight, nobody saw the perspective. But I believe, I'm gonna turn this over to Greg for a second.
Yeah, so we've got one more meeting with Zach, but this is really our last commission meeting. in this capacity with Zach. Zach, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to miss you. I mean, I know we kind of went down this road before, but you were very unique, and you have a skill set that is, vastly great. I mean, I've sat through a lot of different meetings throughout Southern Indiana. I've not seen anybody quite like you. There's some pretty close, but Zach, in essence, has been a fourth commissioner in a lot of ways here, and I know his plate stays full. But Zach, you're a great talent, and you'll certainly be missed here. And so I just want to personally thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you all.
I also want to thank Zach. It's been challenging. This is my fifth year, ending my fifth year, and it's been challenging. We've had a lot of moving parts. We've moved a lot. We've went through a lot of ground. We've moved a lot of ground. Probably some more. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we've done more in the last, 5 years than Scott County has seen. I mean, that wouldn't have been possible without Zach. So thank you, Zach.
Well, that's a good point. I just want to echo a little bit of what Randy, you just said, because the intent was early on, I think, from you and Mike anyway, was let's get somebody who's not in the area, that's not used to saying, we can't do this. Why not? Well, that's not what we do, or we can't do it, I know from thinking back and the decision-making to bring Zach in was to give a new perspective on, can we dig a little deeper? Can we do this? And what's that look like when we do it? And so I think, Zach, you certainly met all those initial needs, I think, from the Board of Commissioners early on. I think you've accomplished everything that initially that they had set out and had a mindset for. And I know you're all the time thinking outside the box and keeping everybody on the straight and narrow, keeping everybody in their lanes, and we certainly appreciate that. Before I go any further, so with that, Zach, it's a pleasure tonight for me and the commissioners to present you in recognition of your years and commitment of service to Scott County. We want to award you with this plaque and our gratitude with you being such a good partner with us and helping us through the years. So thank you very much.
Thank you all for this. You didn't have to do anything, but I appreciate all my time here, everybody I've met and worked with, and it's been a wonderful learning experience for me, and I hope that I've helped in some small way.
Definitely have. Sorry that's not the way you down go, because you certainly are.
It's perfect. Thank you all.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, then, if there's not any other comments about or any business, Jennifer, do you have anything?
The only thing I have is we said we want to put the veteran service officer back on the advertisements. It wasn't room in the paper last time. We'll try to send it in this Friday to get it to come out on the 24th, and then we can possibly have it ready for the first of the year.
Okay, and I had actually talked to Jonathan today, and he has had some interest, and so I asked him to work with you to make sure we can get all that funneled into one place, and so we can start reviewing that and get that position filled.
Wonderful.
I don't know, Barbara on that subject. I believe we will, I'm trying to remember, I'm sorry, but we do plan on bringing the veteran services back to the square and making an office here for them. that's on the ground floor, that's easier for everybody to get into. But just like anybody that has not heard that news yet, I'll probably go ahead and mention that. Adam, do you have anything?
Not to, no, we just thank Zach and everything, but as this is the last official commission meeting, and we have the joint one, we've had one interview with an attorney, impromptu. And then we're running out. Got a week and a half left. What's the thoughts there?
Well, I don't think we've had an official meeting yet for him. I mean, we really need to.
Yeah.
Weigh him in on other.
But your point is well taken, Adam, and, you know, we do need to move forward. I think we do have some interest in the position. I have sent applications and I know there's another name or two that's popped up that may have some interest as well. And so once we can get those compiled in, although that's a process, it's going to take a minute to get them on board. In the time being, it's something that we're going to have to really think about. If we want to reach out to someone, just come in from a retainer standpoint, or do we just want to table some things and until we can get somebody in? It's something that we really need to kind of weigh out because, you know, it is a process. We've got some people, I think, involved, but it's going to take a minute to get them on board. So I look at it's going to take us through January anyway. Even if you get folks set up for interviews, you know, we get them onboarded, you know, that's a month, right? I mean, so.
I think it's something we need to work on actively. Yes, we need to move quick on it, but I believe that it's something that we need to be careful and give some thought, not just jump. So that's my thoughts on it.
I agree.
Like you said, I mean, worst case scenario right now, we would just keep somebody, get somebody on retainer to protect us for now, before we do the contract.
You got a suggestion?
I hesitate. I mean, one, you know, first off, I don't think that I should directly be involved in any decision that you guys make relative to this. But I will say, just in a very general sense, you know, I advise clients all the time that it's very important to have attorneys. I think especially for the types of decisions and things that you all have to go through on a daily basis, which I don't necessarily know that everyone, you know, watching truly understands. That not necessarily that you guys are making decisions, but that there are questions that get asked, right, by our employees, by the public, by, you know, there needs to be somebody there kind of coordinating responses and working for you guys, and making sure that they're giving you the correct advice and everything. So I would echo Adam's kind of concern that you prioritize this. I don't want us, the whole purpose, I think, for me was letting you know a couple of meetings ago was I don't want to see you guys be left in a situation where you have a period of time where you don't have counsel. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And with that, I mean, it's a tough game too. I mean, it's not one that, you know, let's face it, I mean, people are not beating the door down on this. We do have a little interest. I think that's the good news. So I'm happy to report that. But but it is a process. By the time we do, you know, get them in, to get them interviewed, we're going to be missing a month. And I don't know if we may want to reach out to somebody just to set up a temporary contract to cover us through next month.
And getting on attorneys' calendars sometimes can be difficult, especially if they weren't expecting it, but I'm sure that someone will make time for you guys. So probably not a bad idea if you're not comfortable proceeding with a long-term plan, which again, I think is always the better scenario. I would highly suggest trying to see if there's somebody to fill kind of a position for a brief period of time. Understand that I think, Greg, it's a lot to take on, and it's a lot to get up to speed on within a short amount of time, only to be potentially not being there for, the next couple months. So, whether a person like that exists, I don't know.
Well, we're done. That's all we can do. Randy, I'd like to say real quick, I'd just like to thank all of our county employees. Want to wish all of them Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and thank them for all the work that you do. It doesn't go unnoticed. And we certainly appreciate everything that they do and all their hard work. So thanks to everyone that works in Scott County government. We certainly appreciate them. And we feel blessed to have everyone and thank them and look forward to 2026.
Yeah, thank you all for sticking around. You too, Andrew, to not be our one person out there. So if we don't have anything, I'd take a motion to close this meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll say.
I'll make that unanimous.